Hello, my name is Amy and I'm a learning coordinator here at the National Coal Mining Museum.
And I'm Stephanie and I'm the collections manager at the museum. Today Amy and I will be discussing the 1842 Children's Employment Commission. It's important for many reasons. It's actually a really good record of what working conditions were like for women and children in the Victorian era. The report was produced to stop women and children from working underground, and as part of the report they actually interviewed a lot of women and children, and those interviews are all included word for word within the report, so we can get a really good idea of the conditions that they were working in.
This is as well a story that we include in a lot of our galleries as well, and when we have visitors or school trips we include a lot of these stories, some of the quotes from this report, pictures, and some people do want to find out more about this because we can only give a small snippet, so it's nice to have the original report for people to refer to in the library.
Yes, as Amy said, it was the first report that actually included illustrations in it, so as well as the words of these people we can actually see images of what kind of jobs they did underground. So in this image here you can see a young child who was a trapper, and their job was to sit underground and open and close ventilation doors to ensure the air moved around the mine. So that was a really important job. And then the older children and women would actually push carts of coal from the coal face to the shaft bottom. So you had entire families working together. You had the man working at the coal face and the women and children moving the coal for him. And these were actually really heavy tubs of coal, and they could push generally kind of over 15 of these tubs a day. So it was really hard work, and I think this report shows us how hard that work was and how important it was that it was kind of stopped in the end.
I think something that people find surprising, especially younger generations, really struggle to visualise what it would be like working in these conditions. People in this generation are used to going to school and having modern luxuries, whereas these children didn't experience that at all, and having the imagery to show them so they can start to see what that might have looked like, especially when we couple that with them going underground as well. It's a really powerful message.
Some of these children were only 4 or 5 years old when they went underground, so you can't imagine sending a child that young underground to do a job all day. They were starting sometimes as early as 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes they didn't get a lunch break, sometimes they would work till 6 to 7 o'clock at night. So they were really long days. It was wet and muddy underground, it was dark. The children speak about being scared of the dark, about crying before going to work because they didn't want to go. And on top of that, they did go to school on Sunday as well, so they were working a full week and then going to Sunday school as well, so they just must have been so tired all the time.
People are really shocked that whole families used to work underground, especially sort of children coming in when we're explaining about how, you know, your mum and dad would have been working, you'd have been expected to work the same long hours as them in the dark, dim conditions. You know, I say to these young people, would you trust a 4 to 5 year old with your life? It's quite a difficult conversation to have. I mean, a lot of the young people just find it absolutely shocking when I kind of put that question forward. And, you know, if the 4 to 5 year old did not open that door and ventilate, they could effectively suffocate their whole family. So if you think of it in terms of that, it's sort of really hard for young people to get their heads around. We also, as well, when we're doing workshops, speak to young people and sort of ask them how old they are and work out what job they would have been doing underground. Often, you know, we'll be talking about, well, you know, you would have been a thruster or a hurrier, pulling or pushing the coal tubs. You'd have been sort of scratching around on your hands and knees in these dark and sort of horrible conditions. You know, the floor's uneven, it's damp, it might be slightly muddy in places. You know, it is really shocking for them to find that out, and especially when they go underground and they see the conditions for themselves. And you know, that it is a real eye-opener, because these young children had a life that's so different to what children in the modern day live.